Hello, this is Daniel Ritchie, and I'm sure everybody's eager to hear what new features are coming into Howler version 10. And today I'm just going to talk about 4 new features which have been implemented. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open the new media browser, and as you can see, there's some changes here. This is actually entirely new code that has been um, put into this program, into the media browser. We wanted to get past some problems that we had in the media browser and also add new features. So this is something that's been more or less completely rewritten. Um, as you can see, this is where you select all your media. You have a large number of categories of different types of media that you can select. Previously, we weren't able to browse visually the particle-based foliage, orbicals, bristles, and particles. Those were text only, but now we have the ability to browse those visually, and we can also use larger icons. A small problem where in certain cases the icons did not line up correctly, they did not wrap correctly, they would go off into outer space there. That's been fixed. And basically it's just generally a more friendly media browser now. We fixed some other issues such as using the thumbtack. When you use that, the program, when you open a new instance of the program, it will be remembered that state, as well as the size of the window itself will be remembered from between instances, and also the let's see. Also, we have, as I was saying, we have access to these new uh, particle types, which I will talk about next. And as you can see under the particle tab, we've made a number of changes. Again, one is that ability to browse visually. Oh, I forgot to mention, also new is the ability to use the mouse wheel, which is a welcome addition. This is something that's been extended throughout the program where it has not previously been available, such as the font dialog, the gradient dialog, and various other places inside the program, pretty much throughout the program. And as I was saying, we've had a number of changes to the particle tool in general, not just the visual browsing, but as we go through the program, you can see there have been indeed a number of changes. Orbicals, for example, have gained a number of features. For example, the ability to use a gradient, some new line styles, and of course, now there is let me turn that on, and there is a new real-time preview, which you can see these little dots moving around on the screen. I think it's a little more visible if I make this black. There we go. You can really see those spring values going into effect there. Let's see. Make something interesting here. There we go. That's quite interesting. And now that we have this real-time preview, this other preview has been kind of less necessary. We've minimized it somewhat so it uses less space. It's still there because it's useful, because you can grab it and size that and that sort of thing. And it does still kind of give you an idea of the type of orbital you are working with. But it has, since we have this real-time preview, it has become less important. Also under foliage, we've done a lot of rethinking, simplifying. Now, in older versions, we had, since Particle 9, we had the thought of using a Z buffer as a sort of a depth image, where you would paint on a depth image and it would take care of all the size and the scale and the fog and everything for you. And it was a great idea, but it's really not a Howler idea. Howler is really more about having exact controls, not so much precise, but having specific controls to control the things you need to control manually, instead of having it do things for you automatically. So this has been completely rethought. We now just have a very simple scale and pen size and a few other parameters, instead of having a Z buffer and templates and all these things that we had before. And again, we have that visual browsing. And let me go back to white screen so we can see this a little bit better. Talk about the color picker later. That's been really redone. And also, you can see there's a lot of new options and a lot of new presets, quite a few new presets in there, all very fascinating to play with. So, and I was saying you can now scale this, make it smaller, larger, much larger, etc., etc. You can also change the pen size. There we go. Make it thicker or thinner, etc. Once again, that's something you'll see when Howler 10 is finally available. And next up is a new program settings feature. This has been greatly rethought, and we've eliminated some things that we thought were confusing or not really used much. For example, we've gotten rid of startup plugins. In the old days, we thought that people would develop their own tools to support their own workflow or their own studio pipeline, and it turned out that people really don't build their own tools; they just download what they need. So that's been eliminated, and we've really simplified and rethought this. We've added new features. There's free transform selection mode, which makes the transform tools work the same way they do in Particle 9. There's some new options under memory settings, which we'll talk about in a minute. And of course, autosave is a new feature. I think people will appreciate that. It not only saves it, but if you do happen to crash, it'll offer to restore that for you. And etc. Of course, we have benchmarks held over from, I believe, 9.6 and some other features. Another feature I want to talk to you about, of course, is our new undo system. Not only do we have a new undo browser, which you can see here, which lets you see previous states of your undo. You can also store copies of them, not just redo them, but you can store a copy or etc. You can go, of course, you can go into those settings. And as I was saying, we not only added an undo browser, but we've completely overhauled the undo system in general. The way undos are allocated has been rethought. We now have a minimum and maximum undo. Before, it was just based on the amount of memory you wanted to use, and this was kind of inflexible. Because people who worked on large images would not have enough undos, and people who use very small images had really more than enough undos. So we've set it up so you can still have that memory target, but now you have a minimum and maximum, so you can still get a good number of undos. The minimum amount, I have it set default to 8, but it could be whatever you want. And the maximum, in case you don't need more than 100 or something in there. We also have as I said, the undo system has been completely rewritten. It is now object-based, and each undo takes care of its own states. It's much easier to program. It's much more flexible. It's compressed in memory. We have a new compression API, which we hope to use greatly in the future for animations and layers or whatever other, well, maybe not layers, but whatever other things we come up with. Also, there's the ability to save to disk. So now Howler can run in memory and use very little memory. Before I think we were taking about 200 megs, and now I think we can run in as little as about 30 megs. So that's a big deal, really. It frees up more memory for animations, and it's a big jump forward. We hope to go even further in the future. So we really hope people enjoy these kind of features. And as I said, we'd talk about some more features in the future. We've got a greatly overhauled color picker, color themes, theme selectors as more visual. We've got new features like an updated curve tool where you have the ability to quickly close a curve. These nice handles that are give you some visual feedback of what you're doing. We've got lots of new effects. Features like lens flares have new settings. There's mirror elements and oblique elements, which give you some new creative possibilities with lens flares. There's lots of things really coming. So keep an eye out for Howler 10, and thanks for watching.